we go. Happy Monday, everybody.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Thank you. I hope you guys had a good weekend. I hope you were productive this weekend. Anybody do anything productive this weekend?
I essentially just shared with my sphere of influence that I'm in real estate. I have
Good.
been kind of making sure I'm vocal and not being a secret agent.
That is
Mhm.
awesome. Good job, Denny. I love it. I love it. You got to keep doing that. I know it seems like, oh my gosh, but keep
Right.
at it. It pays off.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it pays off. Anybody else?
Some of the same, just sharing with people and friends. Did I?
Excellent. Love it, Yvette. Good girl. Good girl. The ladies are doing it.
Mhm.
It one of the things that I always try to remember in my head, you guys, is that when you plant seed and you plant a seed, if you've ever done this, probably as a child, right? We always get these projects as a child to grow something. Um, and so you plant this seed, and then every day you're like looking at the plant, like, like when is it gonna grow? When is it gonna
Right.
grow? When is it gonna grow? But remember that when a seed is planted in fertile ground, right? The roots go down first,
Right.
right? It produces roots first so that you've got a strong foundation. It has a strong foundation so that when it sprouts up, it's not just going to wither and die, right?
Right.
And that's a lot like our businesses. When you guys are out here dropping these, having conversations with the different folks in your sphere, that's you planting seed. Okay. And the roots come when you guys are actually following up with those individuals and talking with them sporadically and actually systematically. I don't even want to say sporadically, but systematically over the course of this next year, right? That's you watering the seed. And then those roots are growing because in their minds, you're solidifying your place as their agent of choice or someone that they would refer to their family and friends because shoot, Danila's been keeping in touch and Yvette has been calling me or she's been sending me these emails. And even though I might not open them, I might not, but I see the headline. I know it's about real estate. I know she says she's committed to this. So I'm making those connections
Hmm.
and it's producing in me that top of mind awareness that Yvette is in real estate. Yvette, I would use her if I needed it.
Mm.
Okay. Or if I had somebody to refer her. So don't ever be discouraged that, it's not working. It is working. Um, this weekend I was at a good friend of mine. He passed away and we were at his funeral. And um, but the funeral was so uplifting. It was so uplifting. It was crazy. It was so uplifting. Um, because he was just this light guy, funny guy, but he died in Christ. I'm a believer.
Amen.
So it was a homegoing. And so
Mm.
but it was like a reunion because it was all of our friends and all of these people that we know and yada yada. So what was funny was Angela, a woman that I haven't seen in forever, was like, girl, I've been meaning to call you or just like touch base with you because she was like, do you only do business in LA? And I was like, no, why would you think that? And she was like, well, I live in Montclair. And I'm like, girl, I live in Ontario now. She was like, oh my God. So she was like, I've been thinking about buying. We really have because we're tired of renting. She was like, we need to get together.
Mm.
Right. Now, Angela is not even in my database. She,
Mm.
I don't touch her at all. Right.
Mm.
Because she's a friend of a friend kind of, but I've known her over the years, but I never had her contact information or anything. So she's never been in my database. But she knew I was a realtor,
Mhm.
right? And I've never told her I was a realtor, but she knew I was a realtor
Okay.
because I'm sure she's seen social posts and things like that
Mhm.
that told her that I'm a realtor, right? So I'm building that, even though I'm not talking about it all the time. It's everywhere. And that's, you guys have to be everywhere Okay. On your socials. And we have friends that are in common that if she talked about it, they would probably say Brandy's a realtor, right? So it was just interesting to me. And so what happened was I was like, right there at the funeral, I was like, Angela, she was like, let me send you, this is her, let me text you right now and we'll get each other's information. And then I'm sitting down and I'm like, hey, Angela, give me your address. Give me your email address. And she just boom, 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 text right back, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, this is crazy at a funeral to be getting the lead, right? But I'll take it wherever I get it, right? I don't care. I was like, it's all good. Thank you. Thank you, my friend Patrick. So yeah, so it was crazy, but I just thought of the power of your network, the power of social media, the power of you just being everywhere. And even though I am so not consistent, it encouraged me that if I was even more consistent, how much more recognition could I get and more referrals could I get? And so I'm just encouraging you guys to not be discouraged at all because it is working even when it doesn't seem like it's working. Okay.
Okay.
It's working,
Thank
even
you
when
for
it
that.
doesn't seem like it's working. So, all right, so let's get to the real reason why you guys are here. All right, the industry update. Hopefully that helps somebody out there. Hopefully
Yes,
that
thank
helps
you.
somebody.
Thank you for
It really
sharing that.
did.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for
Good.
sharing that. It was nice.
You're so welcome.
Mhm.
All right, so you guys know be TCPA compliant, please, because we do not want you guys to get your hands slapped um, by those regulators and people who are trying to get you in a lawsuit. That means that if they're on the do not call list, don't call them. Okay, it's just better safe than sorry. I know some of us are uber aggressive and we're like, oh, I'll call. They won't be. No. Don't even do it. Just, just skip that one. Okay.
Okay.
All right. For Los Angeles County, here are our numbers. For sale properties that are actually on the market, active. We are increased 10.3% over last month, and we've increased 41.3% over last year. So we are definitely seeing big increases in inventory. People who have been waiting, to sell their home. People who said, nah, last year, like, these interest rates, whatever their reasoning was, have said, nope, we're getting off the pot. We're getting into the market. And that's 41.3% over what it was last year. And then sold properties up 48.5% over last month. So we're having a good month so far. And we're only, again, 6 days in. Remember that. Okay.
Mm-mm.
And then 0.1% up over last year. So barely hanging on to being higher than last year in terms of closings. Pendants are down 5.3% over last month. However, they are up 2.6% overall. Okay, so properties that have actually gone into escrow. New listings are down 5.1% over last month. However, up 19% over last year. So we have new listing inventory that has come on the market, inventory that was like new builds, right? That have come on the market to the tune of 19% over last year. Okay. So that's a good thing. We want to see new listing inventory. We need more new listing inventory, not existing homes coming on the market, because we need that as well. Don't get me wrong, but we also need new listing inventory because our population is outpacing how many homes we have for sale. Okay. How many available homes? We're outpacing the builders right now. So we need builders to double down, and they're not, because of all the uncertainty with the tariffs and all of the building costs going up and things like that. But cities, if you've noticed, if you follow any policy, right, cities are trying to make it easier for builders to come in and build, right, reducing some of that red tape because of the fact that they know and understand that we need more builders to build right now. Okay. All right. Average active price is up 0.2% over last month and down 6.4% over last year. So sellers in Los Angeles County overall are asking 6.4% lower than they did last year. Okay, they're on the market for 6.4% lower than they were last year. However, if you look at this average sold price is up 1.6% over last month and 10.9% over last year. Okay, so it's a big number. Average appreciation is somewhere between 4 and 6%. If you look at historical averages, right now we are at 10.9% up. So we are in those double digits of appreciation. Sellers are ecstatic, right? Sellers are like, hey, I'm getting 10% more, almost 11% more. Buyers, on the other hand, that's a big number. Okay, that's a big number, which is where we get the whole issue of affordability, right? Because buyers are like, wow. However, it's also where you guys can show your buyers that, look, I know you're waiting for that decrease in the interest rate, but look at the rate in which home prices are growing, right? Is that lesser interest rate going to matter when you're paying 10.9% higher than you would have last year? It actually doesn't matter. This cancels that out plus. Okay. So we really need to be able to educate our homeowners or our potential homeowners on that right there, because they're missing out on the opportunity to have that type of appreciation this time next year. Okay. All right. So months of inventory is down 23.3% over last month. We were at 3.4 months of inventory last month. We're at 2.6 months of inventory currently. Only the first 6 days of the month though. And then we are up 42.4% over last year. We're at 2.6 months of inventory last year. We're at 3.7 months of inventory currently. Okay. So we are rising. Why? Because inventory is rising, which is great, right? So we are at the knocking at the door of the 4 months of inventory, which is like our normal market. Okay. It's the threshold of a normal market. It doesn't actually get you into a normal market. We need to get more into 4 to 5 to 6 months of inventory, really, in order to be like, we've got a normal market, but it's like 4 and 5 months. But the reality is that this is closer than we've been in the recent past. And so that's a good number. We want to keep looking at that number. Hopefully it'll, hopefully it'll continue to rise. All right, average days on market has gone down 19% over last month. So we were at 42 days on market last month. We're at 34 days on market currently. And then overall, a 17.6% increase. We were at 34 days on market last year. We're at 40 days on market this year. Of course, we would be longer days on market overall, simply because we have more inventory to choose from, right? So even though it's still a seller's market, buyers still have a few more choices than they did last year, right? So that's a good thing. Sold versus original list price, we have no change. Sellers were getting 99% of list price last month. They're getting 99% of list price currently, right here, no change. And then over here, we've got no change. On a year-over-year comparison, we were receiving 98% of list price last year. We're receiving 98% of list price currently. That's sellers are. So that's good. Sellers love it when they're seeing like 97, 98, 99% of list price, right? However, the reality is that you, the agent, you, the listing agent, are the most influential person to that number. Okay. You can help your sellers to receive 100, 101% of their list price by pricing the property right. Okay. If you don't price it right, they could be looking at 95% of list price, right? Because we overpriced the property and didn't price it for the market that we're in right now. We priced it for the market that we were in 6 months ago. That's why pricing is so important. All right, let's go to Orange County. All right, so for sale properties is up 17.2% over last month. And then 67.2% over last year. So definitely in the OC, inventory has really come on the market. I mean, 67.2% is a huge number. But again, if you guys have been following this, and I know for my newbies, you haven't been following this, as long, because we've been doing this, I've been doing this now for a year and a half.
Mhm.
So OC is the most inventory starved county out there. Okay. So when you see this big number, you think, oh my God, they've got an abundance of inventory. Not true at all. Okay. And you guys will see that in the coming up slides. Not true at all. This is trying to get them to where they are actually, have a little bit of inventory sitting on the market. Okay. And you'll see that. They need it, bottom line. OC needs it bad. 34% sold properties are 34% higher than they were last month and 0.4% higher than they were last year. So we've got more closings to the tune of 0.4%, a little bit higher than LA County. LA County, I think, was like 0.1% or something like that, right? So 0.4%, so a little bit higher. Pendants are down 18.7% over last month and up 0.9% over last year. So 3 out of the 3 major sales trends in the Orange County area are actually in the green, which is a good sign. We want these to be in the green. It tells us the health of our market, of the industry in that area. Okay. So that's what it tells you. So, and the reality is, you might ask yourself, like, why be on this call? Why listen to this, right? How many times, if you guys are really always having conversations about real estate, if you're having those 10 to 20 times a day, I promise you, the question you're going to receive, how's the market? That's the number one question we all get. I get it when I'm with my family. I get it all the time. Brandy, how's the market? What's going on with the market? At least, if nothing else, if I'm listening to this information, the question I can ask is, well, where do you live? What county are you in? Because I got you on 4 major counties. I can give you that high level county information and be like, you know what? I'll listen to a market update every single week. So, oh, you're in San Bernardino County. Well, San Bernardino County is actually doing pretty good right now. So house prices are higher than they were last year to the tune of XYZ. You see, you can talk about it because you're listening, and they'll probably be hella impressed.
Yeah,
Right? Because they even know it at the county level.
Yeah.
But if you're not listening, if you're not absorbing any of this, right, when they ask you the market, you're going to be filibustering like, oh, yeah, market is cool. It's good.
I had a question. They said, what kind of market are we in? And I was like, actually, we're in the seller's market. I was like, we're approaching the normal market, but we're really in the seller's still. And so I was like, oh, I know my stuff. Thanks for these calls. So
that's awesome.
Yes,
that's awesome. I love it. And that's I love to hear that. And that's exactly what this is for, so that you guys feel confident in saying that, knowing like, yeah, I know my stuff because I'm educated up in here.
Right.
Especially when it just flows off. It's like, oh, okay, I know that. Okay.
Right.
Good.
It's internal to you.
Yes.
Yep.
I love that. I love it. I love hearing that. All right. So new listing inventory in Orange County is down 40% over last month. Or again, just the first 5 days, you guys. And it's up 11.6% over last year. So good deal. We've got some good new listing inventory in Orange County. Again, we need it. Okay. Average active price is down 2.2% over last month and down 8.7% over last year, which is crazy because you guys have been looking at Orange County 2 years ago. Orange County was asking like 50% higher than they were in previous years. I mean, the numbers were astronomical over like LA, San Bernardino, and Riverside County. So the fact that they are asking 8.7% less tells you that they recognize that they are getting more inventory coming on the market, more competition. So they're trying to price their properties, to sell. Okay. And then 7.2%. So it's selling for sold price is 7.2% higher than it was last year. Okay. So again, asking 8.7% higher, however, receiving 8.7% lower, however, receiving 7.2% higher. So sellers are happy. They're getting higher appreciation than they were last year. 7% is healthy. It's not way up there, right? But it definitely is healthy. And it's a good number. So sellers in Orange County, again, if you're talking to somebody in Orange County and they're like, is now a good time to sell? Well, what do you think about 7% appreciation? Would you be good with that? Would you be good with your house being worth 7% more than it was last year? Right? Well, most sellers would probably say, heck yeah, that sounds good. Right? Um, and then days on market, being able to talk to them about days on market and so forth. And then telling them, but you know what? In order for me to do you justice, I would want to actually do a market analysis so that we could drill down to your specific neighborhood. Because I'm giving you really county data, but I really would like to do a market analysis. It's free, so that we could drill down and really look at your specific scenario, your specific neighborhood, your house, and your specific scenario. So that's how I would like get them to pivot and get them to get a market analysis. Average active price 2.2% lower than it was last month, and 8.7%. Oh, I just went through this. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I did. Okay. All right. So months of inventory is down 8.3%. So we were at 2.4 months of inventory last month. We're at 2.2 months of inventory. So you see how we have this big old number, almost 70% inventory, right, coming on the market. However, look at this. We still are at 2.5 months of inventory. Out of all the other counties, we're still in this shortage here in Orange County. So don't get it twisted. We need all the inventory, okay? Because we are still in a severe seller's market at 2.5 months of inventory in Orange County, which is up 66.8% over last year. Right? That's huge. That's huge. And yet they're still in a shortage. And it was 1.5 months of inventory last year. Can you imagine the competition for a house in Orange County? Right? It's ridiculous. So, all right, average days on market up 6.9% over last month. We were at 29 days on market last month. We're at 31 days on market currently. And then up 25.9% over last year. We're at 27%. I'm sorry, we're at 27 days on market. And then versus 34 days on market currently. Again, it's going to go up. Even though we're still in a shortage, days on market is going to go up because we do have more inventory, right? So there are more choices, even though it's still slim pickings. Yes, absolutely. Sold versus original list price, no change. Sellers were getting 95% of list price last month. They're getting 95% of list price currently. And then overall, a 1% decrease. So sellers were getting 98% last year. They're getting 97% currently. Now, I think I told you guys this in terms of my theory. My theory is Orange County is so used to their house prices being up here and these sellers pricing their properties way, way up here, that my thought is that sellers are still pricing it up there and then they have to bring it down because buyers aren't biting, right? As much because they are still hesitant and all of that. So although they want to buy an OC, they are still hesitant. They're looking at it, waiting for it to come down, or they're just making an offer lower saying, hey, I'll purchase it here, but I'm not going to come way up here, which is why you see 97% of list price versus 98% of list price. Or in this case, the 95% of list price, which will probably change. We're only in the first 5 days, right? All right, let's go on to Riverside County. Riverside County for sale is up 4.9% over last month and up 44.8% over last year. So we have more inventory coming on the market to the tune of 44.8% over last year. Sold properties are up 19.7% over last month and down 3.4% over last year. So we do not have as many closings yet at this time in the year as compared to last year. Okay, we're down 3.4%. Now we'll be watching that because we're hoping that the trend moves in the upward direction. We have more closings as we get closer to summer, right? Pendants are up 17.9% as compared to last month and up 6.6% over last year. Okay, so that's good. 2 out of the 3 major sales trends are in the green, are showing positive. New listing inventory is down 3.6% over last month. However, overall, it's up 11.3% over last year. Okay, so that's good because we definitely need the new listing inventory, and we expect to see higher new listing numbers in Riverside and San Bernardino County because they have more land to build. All right. Average active price is up 0.3% as compared to last month, and down 5.1% as compared to last year. So sellers in Riverside County are asking 5.1% less than they did last year. However, they are still receiving 1.9% higher than they did last year. So it's a very small number in terms of appreciation, but it is still in the positive. Okay, still is in the positive. So that's a good sign. And this is why you probably see so many people going out to Riverside County, right? Because affordability is being maintained out there, right? Last year, if you bought it at 600,000-700,000, well, it's not that much more this year right now. Right. And remember, this is an average. So again, this is where we have to be hyper local, because I'm sure in some cities in Riverside County, it is higher. Right. And in some it's lower or about this average. All right. All right. Months of inventory is down 9.3% over last month. So last month we were at 4.3 months of inventory. Currently we're at 3.9 months of inventory. Overall, it's an increase, as we would suspect, a 53.1% increase. So last year we were at 2.6 months of inventory, seller's market. Now we're at 4 months of inventory. So we are right there, the threshold of being in a normal market. Okay, so that's a really good sign for buyers who are looking to move out to Riverside County, is that we are getting into that normal market where, again, they're not going to be up against 5 and 6 offers. They may only be up against 1 or none. Okay. All right. Average days on market has gone down 1.9% over last month. We were at 53 days on market last month. We're at 52 days on market currently. And then 15.6% increase overall. We were at 45 days on market last year. We're at 52 days on market currently, which we would expect because, again, as we have more inventory, your days on market grows. Sold versus original list price is down 1%. We were at 97% of list price last month. We're at 96% of list price currently. And the same over year-over-year comparison. We were at 97% of list price last year. We're at 96% of list price currently. Okay. So again, sellers are still happy, and you're going to show them how you can get them 100% of their list price, right? That's our job. Our job is not to come in and say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I can get you 96% of your list price, right? Our job is to say, here's how I'm going to get you 100, or better yet, create a bidding war and get you more. Okay. All right. San Bernardino County for sale is up 7% over last month. So properties going on the market up 7% over last month so far, up 38.2% overall. Okay. So we have more inventory, again, 38% more inventory than we did last year in San Bernardino County. Solds are up 33.1% over last month, down 4.5% over last year. Okay. So we have less closings in San Bernardino County and Riverside County as compared to last year. All right. Pendants are down 5.7% over last month and down 0.3% over last year. So we really got to watch San Bernardino County because they are lagging right now. But it is the first 3 months of the year. So that is normally the case, but this is a year-over-year comparison. So this is comparing the same time frame last year as this year. Okay. So we are lagging. We are lagging. So we gotta watch that. Hopefully the numbers will start to catch up, considering we have more inventory, right? All right, new listing inventory, no change over last month. However, overall, 12.3% increase. So we definitely have new listings coming on the market in San Bernardino County. Average active price is 0.8% higher than it was last month, right here. And then 2.3% lower than it was last year. So sellers are asking 2.3% lower than they did last year. Okay. However, look at that. They're receiving 7% higher than they did last year. Okay. So sellers in San Bernardino County are happy. They are getting higher than they did last year to the tune of 7%, which just like I think it was Orange County, is healthy, right? 4 to 7%, you know, that's healthy. Probably a little on the high side, but definitely astronomical, not in the double digits. Okay. All right. Months of inventory is down 15.9% over last month. And because we were at 5 months of inventory last month, we're at 4.2 months of inventory currently. We're up 43.7% over last year. Last year, we were at 3 months of inventory, and currently we're at 4.3 months of inventory. So San Bernardino County is doing better than all the other counties in terms of really getting into that threshold of a normal market. Okay. So that is, you know, that is a good sign. And hopefully, as we look at the 2 of the 3 sales trends, the closings and the pendants, right? We're going to start seeing those rebound as we go into the summer months. Okay. Let's see. And we'll continue to see inventory come on the market because we really like to see this look like 5 months of inventory, so that tells us we really are in the sweet spot of a normal market. Okay. All right, average days on market has gone down 21.8% over last month. We were at 55 days on market last month. We're at 43 days on market currently. Overall, gone up 16.7%. We were at 42 days on market last year. We're at 49 days on market currently. Okay. Again, one thing to keep in mind, you guys, don't let these 50 days on market, 49 days on market fool you. If you have a client that's looking, get them out there right away. You do not have 49 days. Okay. You don't have 49 days. If you guys know, when a listing goes on the market, it goes on as active, right? And when an offer is accepted, it can go under active, under contract, which keeps the ticker ticking. Okay. It's not until it goes into pending does it stop. Okay, so this average days on market is a little bit skewed because it's counting active under contract. Does that make sense?
Okay, I'm trying to understand. So when it's under contract, that's the offer has been accepted.
Exactly.
And
but you're accepting backup offers.
Okay.
Because you're still in your contingency period.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
So then it's still ticking, showing that it's active, even though they're kind of like maybe
Your days on
checking
market
it.
is still
Yeah.
ticking.
Right. Okay.
Your days on market is still ticking. And this counts days on market.
Got it.
Okay. The moment though, practically for us as realtors, that it goes active under contract, even though it's active, but it's under contract. So your buyers probably don't want to go see that property because it's already pending. It's already tied up. So why would I go get my hopes up when I know that this property is already pending? Right. But for purposes of this, it seems like, oh, they're staying on the market 50 days. No, they're not. Okay. They're more than likely going off the market. Good properties go off the market in a week or 2. Okay. So be very aware of that and have a sense of urgency. Okay. All right. Sold versus original list price is up 4.3% over last month. Last month, they were receiving 94% of list price, currently receiving 98% of list price. And overall, 1% decrease. Last year, we were receiving 98% of list price. Currently, we're getting 97% of list price. So sellers are happy. They are definitely right in those upper 90s. So that's a good sign. All right, you guys, we are through our sales trends right now. So let's go on to our upcoming events. This week, I'm going to be doing group coaching today at 12. And then I'll also be hosting the Conversations in Real Play Tuesday and Thursday morning at 9 a.m. So love to have you guys on. We do some role play, objection handling, but come prepared with who you're going to be talking to, right? So I'm not gonna teach you an expired script if you're not going after expireds. Okay.
Right. Okay.
If you say, Brandy, I'm talking to my sphere, then we're gonna have a sphere conversation and we're gonna practice on that. If you say I'm gonna be talking to non-owner occupies, then we're gonna focus on that. Online leads, whatever your focus is, come prepared with the script and ready to practice on that, because that's what you need help on. That's what you need work on. Okay. All right. And then group coaching, like I mentioned, then we've got our tech workshop with Eileen today at 5:30. We've got Ed Bonilla tomorrow at 11 in-house. Remember that. And then we've got Martha's doing a tech workshop. Or I'm sorry, Wednesday, Thursday, we've got Ed at 10 o'clock right here. He's going to be talking about non-represented buyers, for sale by owners, and the addendums. You guys need to be on that. He's also going to be talking about on Thursday vacant land and sales info. Very important. Let's see. Then we've got Martha doing the tech workshop at 1 o'clock. We've got Victor doing the Doll for Dollars, which is a big hit. So you guys should be there. Pacific Coast Title is also going to be hosting a class, how to read and understand a living trust as an agent. That's really, really, if you guys can add so much value to your clients by being able to read their living trust and being able to give them not necessarily advice, but making sure that things in there are going to not hurt them. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of times they have a living trust, and believe it or not, the property is not in the name of the living trust. Okay. And something ends up happening and we have to go to probate, even though they have a living trust. So I have helped many of my clients because they thought, oh no, I have a living trust. And I'm like, it's not on title. And like, what do you mean? I'm like, it's not on title. Like, let me show you. Here's a title report. Your property's not there. And all it is simply they whoever was following through on it did not follow through with the county recorder. And did not go to the county recorder and record the property in the name of the trust. Yeah. And then we've got Gloria. She's doing a lunch and learn. Gloria is our title rep. Our home warranty rep. And she's going to be doing a lunch and learn, talking about business updates, marketing tools, and best practices. So that's a really good one. That's on Friday. Okay. So I went through this stuff. And if you guys want to do Ignite, click on the QR code for West Coast, because that's a good one for you guys to be on. Okay. All right. If you aren't listening to the Millionaire Real Estate Podcast, you should be. It's awesome. YouTube strategies every real estate agent needs. I listened to this one last week. It's actually a new one this week. This one was really good though, about your YouTube videos and just getting over ourselves and just getting out there and creating content. And so that's what he was talking about. He was like, just get over yourself and just get out there and create content. He was like, just do a video a day or do a video a week, whatever you want to commit to, but commit to it and stick to it. Okay. And add value. So that's what he really talked about, just adding value. Hey, Jen, you got a question?
Hey, Miss Brandy, good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Just wanted to make a comment regarding the, the trends for the different counties.
Yeah.
So, we've both been in the industry for a long time. What I found really interesting is the trends in both San Bernardino and Riverside counties. So what I remember back in the day is anytime there's going to be changes locally, like in our counties, it first hits San Bernardino and Riverside County. So it's interesting to see the pricing trends and inventory trends, days on market, et cetera, et cetera. So it's just for those that are like newer in the industry, we're very likely to see those same numbers soon in LA County and in Orange County, because that's just the way it is. It happens first over there. Like when we had the foreclosure markets, right? You first saw them in San Bernardino and Riverside counties, and then slowly it comes to, LA and Orange County. So just something to keep in mind. We're probably going to see those similar numbers, eventually in LA and Orange County. Just wanted to make that comment.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you. Definitely. That's a great observation. And we'll be keeping our eye on it. So we'll see it happen, as it transpires. But like we talked about, being that we're in the first 3 months, and all the forecasts right now are suggesting that we're going to have stronger sales than we did last year. But that was previous to all of the political things that are going on, right? Nobody anticipated everything that's going on in our government that is impacting our economy, right? So because of that, there is definitely some uncertainty that may not allow us to have all of the gains that were previously predicted. Just the reality, right? All right. So super excited about this, you guys. Red Day, May 9th. Mark your calendar. May 9th, Red Day. You guys, Shelly is our culture ambassador and our committee head. I am the co-chair. And this organization is called Rock Solid Foundation. You guys, they coordinate for us to be able to build play sets for children fighting cancer.
Oh, I love that.
It is just so exciting. So we basically have to come up with $2,500. Okay, it's a whole play set, and we are going to go out. It takes about 20 of us, and 10 to 20 volunteers over 4 to 5 hours, and we are going to go build the play set in their backyard. We already have our child chosen. She's in the LA area, and they're going to build we're going to build the play set in her grandparents' backyard. That's where she wants the play set, in her grandparents' backyard. So what we need from you, we need your money and we need your time. Okay? Everybody has to give. We've got to give. Please see the front desk, because we got to come up with this $2,500. Now, your ALC, your Agent Leadership Council, and myself, we all are donating $100. So we already have $900. Okay? So grateful to our ALC for stepping up and being leaders in that. And we've got a long way to go, right? What is that? $1,400 more dollars. So we need everybody to kick in and to donate. This is a great cause. This is wonderful. To put a smile on a kid's face that is suffering from such a horrible disease, right? So we want to help, and this is May 9th. You guys know what we do. We come here to the Market Center. We meet here. We have our Red Day t-shirts on. We are getting Red Day t-shirts. I will have more information to you guys about that. More than likely, the t-shirt is going to be $20. So you'll sign up with the front desk, give them your $20. But we are super excited, you guys. This is going to be fun. And we're going to put a smile on a child's face who is suffering from cancer. What site do we use to print flyer? Oh, okay. Hang on. We can get yes, we can get out. Oh, of course, Jennifer, we can get outside donations. Yes. Okay. So you guys have lenders, title, whomever in your world, escrow, please get outside donations. Yeah, this is exciting. Brandon, we do use Michael Lewis, and you can contact the front desk. They can help you get signed on, and you can use Command as well. Okay, and Canva. I mean, there's so many places, but Michael Lewis, Command, Canva. All right. Let's see. So this is exciting, you guys. Just know we are going to rock this. It's going to be so much fun. So normally we meet here, right? Then we go to the site. We're going to build for 45 hours, and then we're going to come back and have a hosted lunch. That's the way we do it. All right. So really a fun day. May 9th, mark your calendars. All right. Next, industry news. So private listings opens the door to discrimination. I just wanted to put this out there because it is news. That NAREB, which is the National Association, is actually one of the oldest Black associations for real estate professionals. And they were just talking about the fact that, you know, now that the cooperation agreement is in place with the National Association of Realtors, that pocket listings and private listings allow sellers to potentially discriminate, right? Because if it's a pocket listing, and that seller has already told the realtor, like, well, I only want to sell to a certain demographic, right? Then that listing agent then can only push it to a certain demographic, or could potentially only push it to a certain demographic, limiting the opportunities for people of color. So the reality is this was just something that Dr. Courtney Johnson Rose brought up, and was saying that it could potentially harm independent brokers, you know, and it could potentially set us back in terms of discriminatory practices that we've made good progress with over the years. Okay, taking away or limiting or minimizing the amount of discrimination. Yeah, through all the different things that the National Association of Realtors has done. So potentially, you know, that's something that they're going to be looking at and studying as we go. But there's so many pros and cons to the new Clear Cooperation Agreement, right? And this is one of the cons. This is potentially one of the cons, which is where we as realtors have a responsibility, right? We have a responsibility to not allow our clients to make us act unethically, right? We really do. I honestly, I've had several of my clients say, you know, I would love to see a Black family in my house, right? And it makes me uncomfortable just simply because I know that ethically I can't. And I don't want to. I'm not going to limit who sees your home. And I push them back to, well, I'm sure you want the most money for your home, no matter who that is, right? And 99.9% of the time they say, yeah. And I'm like, well, then that's what I'm here for. I'm here to market it to whomever is willing to pay, right? So we do have to, and at the same time recognizing, I mean, in all honesty, for myself, recognizing that that my people, Black and brown people, typically have not had the opportunities to purchase that others have. So am I sensitive to that? Absolutely. Absolutely. But ethically, I'm not edging anybody out, right? Yeah. Because I wouldn't want that done to me.
Yeah.
So, let me see, somebody had, is there a link for people to make the donations? How do we collect the donations? Good question, Jennifer. We do not have a link to collect donations as of yet, but that is a good point. We can get we can get one. I will talk with Rich and Daisy about that today so that we could get a QR code out. Okay, and one of our flyers can have a QR code on it where people can just donate like similar to what we did one other time. We had QR codes, we had the Cash App going, we had all that. So we will get that done. So thank you for that. Let me see. That's what I've been dealing with. Agents not answering concerning the market. If the listing agent doesn't want to answer, then what do you do when your client wants the property but no one is responding?
It's not the case.
So Brandon, if you aren't getting a response from a listing agent, call their broker. Right? That's what you do. You call their broker. If they're not responding, call the office, ask to speak to the broker because you've been trying to reach the listing agent on XYZ property. Right? Now, I'm assuming you're not one of those people that called at 10 o'clock and then want to call the broker at 10:30. Don't do that because they could be on a listing appointment or something like that. But if it's been longer than 24 hours and you keep calling or texting, you know, then I would definitely call the broker. Okay. And I would also do more than just call, text as well. Right?
Is the broker also. So what do you do?
Say again, Brandon. I'm sorry, I can barely hear you.
I said sometimes the listing agent is also a broker. So what do you do? I mean, yeah, in many cases they're on a, you know, a call, a listing call. But I've been in a situation where, you know, my client is searching for a lease, a home, and then I contact the agent, and it's been 24 hours, and then my client contacts the broker, and they pick up for the client, but the broker doesn't contact me back or anything. They don't leave a message. They don't even try to call me back. And every time I call the listing agent or the broker, they won't pick up. So what do you
do? If your client is getting through to them, then have your client tell them, my agent has been trying to reach you and you're not answering. That's what I do. Go back door. If they're going to pick up your client's phone number, then go back door to your client and have your client advocate and say, hey, my broker's been trying, or my agent's been trying to reach you, and you're answering for me, but they can't get through to you. His name is Brandon Nelson, and he said that he's reached out to you. Okay. And that's what I would do. Roger. Gotcha. Yep. Sometimes you have that, you know, on occasion you do have that. It's not common, but you know what? If that's the case, you got to do what you got to do. Right. And think about it. Some agents, what if, you know, they've been in the business for a while. So when your number pops up, what if they Google your number and they see that you're also an agent? They're like, oh, we don't want to do business with this person. You know what I mean? They go mute on you. That takes too much work. That takes too much work. Agents aren't doing that. Right. They're not doing that, Brandon. That takes too much work. You talking about somebody who's too lazy to pick up the phone to answer your phone call. You really think they're going to Google you and figure out that you're an agent and say, I don't want to work with that person arbitrarily because they don't even know you? No, they're too lazy for that. But what they will do is just not answer the phone because they're lazy. And that's again, we are not in an industry that has a high regard for professional professional etiquette.
That is crazy.
It is.
Oh,
and
wow.
So that's why we have to be the change that we want in our industry. Right. That is why real estate professionals have such a low reputation, right above car salesmen.
Wow.
Because of the professional etiquette. It only takes you getting a real estate license that costs you what, $350?
Yes. Right.
And if you get your course through us, it's on scholarship, it costs you nothing. So you just take a $350 test, and then you're able to go out and close on an $18,000 commission. That's amazing. Right? And you don't have a college degree. You're a college dropout, which I'm not knocking any of that. Trust me, I'm all for the hustle. Right. But what that means is that, and you have no professional background whatsoever. So you just hop into this, and you're good at talking, so you get a deal, right? And then you don't know how to service them as a true professional. and interact with other professionals. And you go with a discount brokerage because you want to keep all your money, right? I can't tell you how many times I see that. So they're in it just for the quick money, the quick money. And so, yes, then you get those non-responsive people and stuff like that, or you get the ones that are just extremely busy and they'll get back to you, but it's really low, it's really late. Okay.
Right.
So either or, do what you got to do.
Just move on
Okay.
to the next person, right?
That's right. Keep it pushing. Keep it pushing.
But for purposes, when sometimes we're using these applications that give us leads, you know what I mean? Because I don't want it to make my numbers look bad, but sometimes I'm using these lead apps and they're sending me leads, and the leads, you know how it falls off. Sometimes they're doing their own thing, and like you said, sometimes the broker or the agent is too lazy to answer the phone, and now it kind of falls back on me, and it looks like I'm not trying to close.
No.
And then, so.
But in the apps, in all of the apps that I've ever been in, there's an update button. You have to keep updating the file.
Right.
Every time you call that agent, you update the file that you called that agent. Every time you reached out to that person and they don't answer you, you make a note of that in that system. If you do that every single time, it's actually going to increase your score because it looks like you are constantly updating the record.
Right.
So it doesn't matter that they're not reaching back out to you. What matters is that you're making the attempt.
Got you.
So that's so in 90, I would bet 99.9% of those apps, that's what they're looking for, is that you're making the attempt to update. And that's all they care about. And you're making it in multiple ways. Like I said, phone, email, text. If you've got all that information, use it. Let the company know I'm doing this, this, and this. If you're doing that, they'll love you and your score will grow. Okay.
Roger. So, thank you.
The next thing is this article, you guys. Will job growth, lower rates be enough to motivate buyers? So bottom line is that job growth has really been strong through March, but this does not take into account all the federal layoffs that have gone into effect. So we're gonna see that number in April. Okay. So bottom line though is that job growth was higher than it was. Job growth was higher, and so the forecast and everything is really good right now. And they're also suggesting that mortgage rates, Fannie Mae and the VA, might dip below 6% in the upcoming months like April and May. Okay. So because mortgage rates have been going down, they hit a 5-month low. And so mortgage rates have been going down, and they're saying that, like I said, FHA and VA rates may dip below 6% in the very near future. Okay. If that is the case, you may see a influx of buyers coming into the market, right? Because they will be motivated to buy, especially your first-time home buyers. Okay. So definitely, you guys, this is when, again, we need to be the ones that are getting out the information. Okay. And be on the lookout for these trends. Also be on the lookout for banks that are offering any grant programs. Okay. Because buyers want to buy, but a lot of times they don't have down payment. So they need the down payment assistance. Okay. So be looking out for banks that are offering grants, 10,000, 15,000. I have a conversation tomorrow with a lender who he has a grant program that's 10 or 15,000. I want to know more about it. Again, I love Nancy and I love Rosie and Luis, and I'm going to give them business when I can.
Yeah.
However, I have to service my clients the best way possible. And sometimes that means that I've got to go find solutions for their problems. And if their problem is down payment and I've got a solution for that, doggone it, they gonna get it. Okay.
I was listening to a gentleman on YouTube he was listing the name of banks, and I don't know what state he was in, but he was listing a name of banks that are giving grants to first-time home buyers. And so if I find that, I'll share it, because I know I
Please
watched
do.
it over the weekend. I'll share it. I didn't get all the names of the banks, and like I said, I don't know if he's out here in California, but it still would be helpful if we knew that list too. So I'll share it.
Absolutely. And one thing that I would tell you guys is that, you know, all grant programs are not created equal. So we even need to take it a step further and do some more due diligence on that. The only reason why I say that is because sometimes those grant programs come at a real cost to your buyer. Okay. So sometimes they're paying higher points. Sometimes the debt to income ratio is really, really tight. So there's other factors in that. You just got to do some due diligence so that you know which ones are really good and which ones not so good. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Let's see what is in the chat. Okay, we got that one. Okay, gotcha. Okay. So we got that. Let's see. We were almost done, you guys. That was it. All right. Any questions?
The articles that you shared today, I would like to share them.
Okay.
On my social media. I can look for them, but do you have them?
It's realestatenews.com.
Realestatenews.com.
Yeah, realestatenews.com.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. And you're welcome, Brandon. I'm happy I could help, honey.
Thank you. The market update. Appreciate it. And all the extras we get.
Yes.
You're so welcome, you guys. You're so welcome. Thank you guys for being here and giving me your energy. I so appreciate it. And I am looking forward to us having an amazing week. You guys, let's get out here. Let's sow some seed. Keep dropping those little seeds over everybody that you talk to. It will sprout. It will. I promise you it will. Get on social media, talk about, even today, like, hey, you guys, I learned about down payment assistance programs and some grant programs. If you're interested, give me a call so that I could do some research on your behalf. Like, how easy is that?
Very easy.
We just got to get out of our own comfort zone so that we can go out there and get some business. Remember, you guys, there is no growth in your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Growth is outside of your comfort zone. Okay? Growth is outside of your comfort zone. If you're willing to venture out there, you are going to grow. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Let's make it a growth week. Let's go.
Brandy,
Bye,
thank you. I won't be in the office for group coaching, but I'll be online. I'll do Zoom. Okay.
All right. I'll see you guys there.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.